alongside the returning Alicia Eva this afternoon. Scott trying to create something, as is Heath. Desperate handball forward, no space for Hank. Steen, third tackle in this sequence, just to hold Melbourne at bay. Cunningham can't take the ruck. She wasn't there in time, so it's a gift. But Beeson's kick only as far as Mithen. Took the mark, played on, chips for Scott. Shelley Scott simply must kick this if Melbourne are going to be any chance.
She really does. Lily Mithen did a great job just to block that hole there and just hit up Scott, who was also out in space. In good range here. She'll definitely have it in the kick. It's just the accuracy that's the question.
Had 13-12 in her AFLW career coming in this afternoon. One behind so far today. Melbourne's season is alive.
Well, it was a brilliant hit by Lily Mithen just to get Shelley out in space, and she kicked truly. The D season well and truly alive, but a lot of that play to the left of screen.
Against the trend of where the game's been heading, as we said. Giants had kicked 3 goals unanswered since Lily Mithen kicked the D's first. 4 minutes into the second. Pearce stripped, Zanka there in support. Scott engaged once again. Little tug of the jumper from Bennett's. Scott can recover best and get a toe to it through the hands of Steen. Petrescu going searching for the footy and Scott following up well. Don't forget, Giants Geelong AFL Round 1 action to come tonight here at Giants Stadium. GWS looking for an AFLW finals win to cap an historic day in the club's history. Mackerel pushed through traffic. D's want a free kick. Petrescu just continuing to play the game with a strong tackle. So finally, at last, some territory in Melbourne's part of the ground. McKinnon, free for Beeson. Cool head to balk her way through Sheriff. Tricky bouncing footy, favours Staunton. Can't get free of Cordner. The desperate fist was outside the rule book. So Harriet Cordner, big stop there. Pretty much every player on the ground in Melbourne's half as Cordner puts it towards O'Day. Just muscled her way to the drop zone on Mackerel. Perkins has got a couple to beat here. Crummer in the form of Cunningham, would you believe? Hetherington happy to hold it in, as is Steen. The Giants have shut down here. They're just trying to protect this game, and sometimes it's hard to attack again when you're defending so stoutly. Tully happy just to collapse on the ball, and Abs, in this case, the Melbourne players are pretty much better off taking a couple of steps back and
You'll be able to
catching the Giants red-handed.
They certainly are.
Stevenson, Tully, Gay with the tackling work, and precious seconds tick off the clock. We navigate our way towards 5 minutes to play in the final quarter. Margin is 9. Eva. Perkins was high on Tully. It wasn't spotted. Umpire was on the other side of the contest. There's Cora Staunton, Pepper Randall, and Giants head of football Jason McCartney watching on. Perkins this time was able to muscle away to get a hand on it. Bennett's. Lister was stripped. Plenty of Melbourne players around the footy here. O'Day got a boot to it, but was only marginal. Beeson, her handball missed the target of Eva. Heath. Umpire letting it go, which is a good policy at this stage of the day. See if the players can sort it out and eventually to come in and spread it. So another minute sliced off the clock here from the Giants.
It does feel like GWS have gone into a shell, doesn't it? They're in full-blown defensive mode where they still need to attack. There's still time in this clock for Melbourne to kick a goal and be back in it. So they still need to play to win.
Maybe here is the dam buster from an umpiring point of view. Free kick against McKinnon for sitting on the footy. And Sarah Perkins, we know she's a goal kicker at the level. She had the most scoring shots of any player in season 1 when a remarkable story, overlooked in the draft, All-Australian and a premiership player with the Adelaide Crows. Her second chance has come here at the D's. Goals in her 2 matches so far against West Coast and Carlton. Huge moment for Sarah Perkins. Simply brilliant from Sarah. Melbourne are coming.
And Sarah Perkins kicks truly, and didn't she love it? The D's, they're back in it. Just a 3-point deficit with all the play going their way. So let's see if the GWS Giants can turn the side back their way.
I think the credit to Sarah Perkins comes from she contested multiple ruck efforts inside forward 50 there against Erin McKinnon, who she's spotting a lot of centimetres to, got the free kick and then the clean, clinical finish from 40 metres out.
And one thing that Sarah Perkins has is that never say die attitude. She will keep going and going, and she'll give 100% all the
Daisy
time.
Pearce forward, Scott! Colossal mark. Melbourne thundering here. The Giants' knees suddenly wobbly after they led by 14 points at three-quarter time. Shelley Scott having an influence here late. Perkins, Randall, ball to the back, Lauren Pearce. Stevenson knocks to Eva. She'll turn tackler on Sheriff. No prior perhaps. Fumbly is Stevenson. Hall wanting to tackle. Here's Parker, snaps around her body.
Yeah.
No one in the forward half here for the Giants if they can win the footy, and they do. Barclay, Zrika coughs it up to Zanka. Emerson inboard for Cordner. She's got Hanks and she'll head there now. Melbourne stretching the Giants' defence. Hanks for Perkins. Almost has to recover, and she does. Goes to ground, perhaps not in possession. Umpire right on the scene to adjudicate that that's the case. 2 minutes to play. What a great start to the AFLW final series. We didn't know if we'd be playing. We didn't know what format we'd be playing. But these two semi-finals so far have been rippers. Parker has stood up in the finals pressure. One-on-one, it's going to be Cordner and Barclay. Cordner takes possession, goes back to Birch, and now some overlap for Melbourne. Hanks has to kick around Barclay, coughs it up, Parker. And now the Giants are into the 2-minute drill. Retain possession, head to a prelim. Parker forced to kick. Allen. Hanks couldn't gather. You could hear the Hanksy call from Daisy Pearce. Staunton stripped by Paxman. The tackle lingered. Free kick for a throw will go against Barclay. Harriet Cordner with the free kick. 1:15 to play. Cordner. Newman can split the pack. Needs a crummer. Brilliant tackle applied on Tully. Will get a stoppage. Strap yourself in. You don't need a drink in the next 67 seconds. Justin Crowe, part of the Melbourne coaching setup, screaming from the bench. Lauren Pearce grabs from the ruck. Ball to the outside for Hall. She snaps. Mithen marks! Well, it couldn't be. She hadn't kicked an AFLW goal walking into Giant Stadium this afternoon. She kicked one from pretty much this spot 4 minutes in to the second quarter. Her housemate Kate Hoare turns provider, and Lily Mithen has perhaps the opportunity to send Melbourne into a preliminary final here. We know she had the right syndesmosis injury pre-season, her third game back for a second AFLW goal, her most important kick yet. Mithen's got it! Unbelievable!
Wow, Lily Mithen, take a bow. As you mentioned, she's waited 24 games to kick her first AFLW game. And now, as we see on screen, she finishes truly. 2 goals to her name. And the D's are up by 3 points with 25 seconds remaining in this game.
So we'll have 5s in each forward 50 as is required. So the umpires will take a careful look to make sure that everything's set up as it needs to be. Melbourne have set up their wingers defensively here to try and protect. Suddenly the D's back in front when they look gone for all money. They were played off the park in the third quarter, trailed by 14 points. They've kicked 3 in 9 minutes here from nowhere. Hall wins it on Parker, off to Paxman. Bennett's trapped it when it had to be done. Couldn't find a target, off to Heath. And she'll be coached through what she needs to do here to run the clock down. The sweetest sound of all for Melbourne. Can you believe it? off the canvas, off to a prelim. Melbourne defeat the Giants by 3 points. Disbelief on the face of many Giants. They had that game in their keeping halfway through the final quarter, Abby Holmes, but these numbers tell a story. Melbourne's 3 goals derived from 33 possessions to 13 and 6 inside 50s to 0. And it was their leaders standing up. Shelley Scott had important touches and marks. But they'll talk about Lily Mithen's goal as part of the AFLW Melbourne program for years to come.
How exciting is this for the D's? Yes, but for Lily Mithen, you know, they were down and out essentially at 3/4 time. 14 points, which is a lot to make up in AFLW footy, and the Giants have just let it slip through their fingers. You can see the devastation on their faces, but there's Lily Mithen, 2 goals in her 24th game in the AFLW. So Lily Mithen, take a bow. You were sensational today, and what a story it is for Sarah Perkins as well.